like deja vu, huh, mister?
Something like that.
What are we doing this time?
Well, might look familiar. Well, that's because we're in the same area we were about this same time last year. So instead of coming down here empty and picking a car up, I don't know if you'll be able to see it back there, but it's back there on the open. We're heading down here to get it on the jig at Schwartz Race Cars.
Yeah, this is not ideal to come down again. It's not like there's nothing that when you buy one of these things that says, hey, you have to have a 1-year anniversary to make sure your shit's still straight. That was not at all the intention or the plan, but after our little escapade second race in the car at Attica, something's been tweaked on this thing. We've told you guys about that for a minute, so got to come down here and make sure it's all straight. You go through these cars every winter anyway, but we normally don't tear them down this far. I mean, it's basically back down to a bare chassis again. We'll get it down here, make sure it's all straight, but I don't know. I never really hate coming down to Southern Ohio because you drive through these mountains, and we left yesterday, well, last night really, and got into Chillicothe and stayed at a hotel for a couple-hour nap and back on the road this morning to be here first thing. So it's kind of cool seeing the sunrise and the mountains and all that stuff, but like I said, certainly not what we had hoped to do. Luckily we should be able to get this thing fixed up, and it should be we're kind of hoping that'll help us a little bit next year. We found some stuff at the end of last year that was definitely helpful, and if we can tweak on this thing a little bit and get it straight, it should be even better yet. So yeah,
and we'll see. We're hoping we can get it fixed. Really, we don't know until, yeah, right there's Schwartz Race Cars. We don't really know if we can get it fixed until we get it on the jig. We're pretty confident that we can, but you never know. I mean, it could be bent so bad that it's not worth it, you know, but it doesn't seem that way, and we're hoping that is definitely not the case.
So, it's been a day here at the old Schwartz Race Cars. Special thanks to these guys. They made it happen. It's Corey, and Eric. Corey's a welder fabricator back here. Eric's the jack of everything. And so they busted their ass. We got here about 8 o'clock this morning. You guys seen this thing before it came down. Got here 8 o'clock this morning, lifted this thing off the trailer, set it on the jig, found out that it was in fact bent pretty bad actually. And so they got to work, and we sat around and BS with Audie, and here we are at the end of the day, right about 4 o'clock, and everything's all put back together. She's out of surgery and she lives. Her original front is sitting right there on the pile of other fronts and backs and things like that. So now these guys did a hell of a job. Everything's all put back together, all true, all straight. We even got the J-bar mount that we tweaked in that rollover. That's all replaced back there. So just wanted to say shout out to these guys. We appreciate you, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure, and it's actually a nice day down here in Southern Ohio.
But we're back at it now in the shop here. We got the car all offloaded. Nice thing about having a lift is it doesn't just lift street cars, it'll lift race cars. What are we doing over here, bud?
No, we just, like Brandon said, we had to spray it down with some rust preventative, WD-40, whatever. So we had to wipe that back off so we can get paint to adhere to it now. I'm just going around, you know, when they actually built a chassis down there, they you know, prep the welds a little bit and things like that before powder coat. But in the scramble that was getting this thing done, you know, they didn't prep anything. But it's not like it's bad. It's just I'm a little bit anal when it comes to that stuff. So just going around now, you know, dusting any sharp edges off on any of the welds, knocking any spatter off that was there. We'll go around and hit all the joints with the wire wheel, and then we'll just kind of dust this thing up with some Scotch-Brite before we get ready to paint it and get it painted up.
And we'll see what Dad's got going on up here. Finally got the shop, for the most part, organized up, so we can all get back to work. And we got Dad over here. What you doing? Older brother?
We're tearing her back down. Tearing her back down. Sending the heads out, getting them going through. I think we're going to put some new pistons in her this year and do the freshen up thing. Other than that, it ran good all year long, and hopefully it continues performing like it does. That's about it.
That's always a good thing when, knock on wood, it lives all year long. That's what we all, I think every racer ever hopes for. So we're gonna stay after it here. We gotta make a whole lot of noise, and it's kind of slow progress right now.
All right, a couple things to show you. First of all, I want to talk about what we got going on back here. This is what you call a makeshift paint booth. Now, yes, they sell inflatable ones and stuff, but they don't sell these. This is homemade. Look at in there, we even got a light hanging in there. So we're making some progress back there. We're about ready to go into paint with that car. But no, up here. So at the end of the year, we noticed that, you know, after hot laps and things, you'd smell a little coolant. We've had radiator cap issues. As you all know, they don't build stuff like they used to. So, you know, these radiator caps, they might say what their brand is, but we've switched a couple brands because they just wear out. But anyhow, we smelled some coolant and checked over everything, and nothing was an issue. We knew we had just Eldora and Fremont left, so we just kind of kept rolling with it. It wasn't pushing water out, but it wasn't running hot or anything like that. But this is why you tear your motors down every year and get a look at them. We run these things 8,500 RPM for 35, 40 nights a year, and every time they're on the track, you know, unless it's oak shade and dry slick, but you're expecting all they got to work. We got this one. Dad went to take the plugs out and was having some difficulties with a couple plugs, and looked down in the bore. So we got it apart. Here's what we got. So that cylinder there, you can see all this flaky stuff. What that is head gasket in between the cylinders. You can see how that's dark right there, where it's not dark right in here. So the head gasket, for whatever reason, and we still got to do some investigating, but for whatever reason, it appears that the head gasket was starting to give up and kind of let coolant pass through, and that's what the bottom side of the head looks like. And you can see it's kind of starts to bleed into the other bore. Same with this side. It's not as bad on this side, but we are missing a plug strap there. Kind of hard to see that, and you can see it's got this cylinder here has got some garbage in it. So we'll continue tearing this thing down and look at the block, make sure we don't get like a cracked bore or something like that. But these are the kinds of things that you run into. I mean, you know, this motor's got a whole lot of laps on it total in its life. And you know, you're dealing with aluminum heads and steel block, and you know, who knows what we can do to kind of prevent this stuff. So we'll talk to the motor builder when we take it down there, and you know, ask him if he's got any ideas. We're running Cometic MLS gaskets on it, so we thought we had her all sealed up, and we did for probably 32 of the 35 nights. Luckily, like I said, it doesn't seem like it's anything catastrophic. We were gonna get new pistons for this motor anyway this year. You know, hopefully, like I said, hopefully it's not a cracked cylinder or something like that was causing a problem. You know, we can redeck the heads and redeck the block, make sure everything's true, and put it back together and make it live another season. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that. That's why it's kind of important to tear these things down and at least get a look at stuff. I mean, this thing ran. We washed it after the last night, and you know, we fire them up every time we wash them just to get everything dried out and all that. And it ran fine, sounded fine. You'd have never known. But you start tearing it apart, and there's some issues going on. So if you can catch something before it becomes a major issue, that's kind of the key. But anyhow, we'll keep getting her tore apart and get back there in the paint booth and get this thing painted and keep on keeping on.
Alrighty, so here we are, another day. We got that black all finished up. We cleaned up our makeshift powder paint booth, not powder coat booth, paint booth, and didn't come out too bad. You guys haven't met the new terror yet. Zoe. Zoe. Hey, relax. This is Zoe, everybody. She is a 12-week-old Rottweiler puppy. That's my new gremlin. Me and Chelsea's. But at any rate, so it came out pretty decent. Not too bad. Jesus. Sometimes she likes to play with her food dishes, you know. Any rate, so it's all black, ready to start assembling. But before we start assembling, we got to go through all our components, make sure everything's good to go back together. So that's what we're doing right now. I'm working on tearing this rear end apart, getting the bearings, refreshing the bird cages, and all that good stuff that we do every winter. BJ, what are you doing over here?
This is a new fuel cell. We're not really sure who the maker is of it, but I'm pretty sure who the maker is of it. Anyhow, it's one that's getting custom made for Schwartz, and they're not terrible periods. To get an SFI certified cell, you're usually in the neighborhood of $2,000, and that's what you need if you want to run with any kind of the Lucas Oil stuff. So we got that when we got the new car last year, and it's a metal can, and I'm just not really pleased with the way that the paint job held up on it all year long. It's got a lot of places in it that are rusted really bad, and it doesn't drain very well. Like if it gets when you're washing the car, if it gets any water inside of it at all, it just doesn't drain very well. So we're gonna tear it apart, clean it up a little bit, get some drill holes put in the bottom of the can so that way any water can drain out of it, and at least touch it back up, make it look halfway new again. So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, good times going on. It's that time of the year where it's hard to find motivation to get working, but we got to get working, or we're going to get held back on the start of our race season, because we're going to have way too much going on in the month of March when the new trailer shows up and we're trying to get the car buttoned up. The whole goal is to try to have the car done by March. That way we can jump off the car and go right onto the trailer and bang that out. So we got to get going here. That's not going to work out.